Hi, I'm Brian Albert. I'm an animation and screenwriting student at the Savannah College of Art and Design, and if there's one thing that you're going to be doing here at an art school studying storytelling, it's crying. But second to that is pitching your ideas. Pitching in the entertainment industry refers to pretty much throwing your ideas out there for people to catch. Whether it be selling your short film or TV show to your classmates or potential investors, you're gonna be pitching a lot, and you gotta be a really good pitcher. And the best pitchers hold a lot of water. That's so dumb. All right, let's start with the essentials. Every pitch needs a strong foundation, so introduce yourself, the title of your project, and just launch right into it. The key to a good hook is by starting with your main character. People love stories about someone or something that wants something, so give them a goal to root for. And remember, you don't actually need to tell the whole story in your pitch. It's really not that important. What is important is the vibes. Are the vibes? Is the vibes? Are the vibes? What is important? Never mind. So you gotta focus on your main points. Your main character, the antagonizing forces, the stakes. Like, stakes are really, really important. High stakes that are visceral. Visceral consequences elicit strong emotions. And as tempting as it is to make your pitch purely logical of like, this is why this movie's good, the strongest parts of your pitch are going to be the ones that strike a chord emotionally. So keep the stakes high and visceral and emotional by keeping them personal. Personal stakes are the most visceral stakes. I mean, just think about all the times you watched a movie that ended in a big pillar of light coming out from a city and just like, you couldn't care less. And then contrast that with that one scene in Mulan where she finds the village that's been like absolutely destroyed and she picks up the doll. That hits. That's so much smaller externally, but so much larger internally. Because it's personal. And that's what high stakes are. If you give us a reason to care about this character and root for what they're rooting for, that's all you really need. And also don't forget to do visuals. Pitches are visual, especially if you're pitching an animated project. Don't give me like a wall of text or like vomiting information at me. Because remember, it's about the vibes. And if your visuals can give off the tone and the genre of what you're going for, I mean, that sounds like a win to me. You also gotta know why they should choose you to pursue this idea. Because you're not just pitching the idea, you're pitching yourself. Show them that you have creative vision and passion and expertise. Show them respect, humility, and professionalism. Being someone that people want to work with is a massive plus. You also gotta answer the question of why now? Why does your story have to be told right now? It could be anything like cultural relevance, or it just so happens to be something that the studio is pursuing right now. But of course, you're not always going to know that. So the best chance that you got is showing your passion and showing up believing wholeheartedly that this idea is worthwhile. Because remember, it's not about market research. Don't walk into a meeting with numbers and like data analytics and like demographics and stuff like that. The best pitches are more like conversations. It's where you get to know your audience and they get to know you a little bit. So that means you gotta know your story inside and out. Like, you should be ready to answer any and all questions that they throw at you. It's like dating, except there's multiple people in the room all trying to date you at once. It's like The Bachelor. Pitching is like The Bachelor. Okay, now let's talk about the elevator pitch, where time is of the essence. Imagine that you're stuck in an elevator with some big shot, like Bob Iger. What would you say? Well, first, after telling him to pay his writers fairly, #WGA strong, you have 2 minutes to pitch your idea. Keep it concise and compelling. Title, genre, main character with a goal, and what's at stake if they don't achieve it. Sometimes it helps to combine 2 similar movies or give a fresh take on something familiar. Like, for example, Back to the Future is an adventure sci-fi film where a high school slacker gets stuck back in time to the mid-1950s and must return back to the future before he erases himself from existence. It's like H.G. Wells' The Time Machine meets Ferris Bueller. There you go, that's the elevator pitch for Back to the Future. It's super simple and you get everything you need. Or in the case of House of Rejects, my animated series with Paper Crown Pictures, shameless plug. It's an animated sitcom where a rejected cartoon character is thrown into a permanent residence for rejected ideas and must find a way to become rich and famous or else be doomed to a life of mediocrity. It's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends meets Community. A common misconception is that pitches are fairly formal things, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You should be ready to pitch anywhere at any time. Just always read the room. If someone doesn't feel ready to hear your pitch, don't pitch it to them. Comedy pitches, in particular, really thrive on your ability to gauge the receptivity of your audience. When I'm pitching for comedy, sometimes my delivery changes depending on who I'm pitching it to, because maybe it's like early in the morning and they're not super into it, or they're later at night and they're not super into it, or you just happen to catch someone in a funny mood, so it's a lot easier to make jokes. It really depends. And yes, I know, animators, we're introverts. We don't really do the whole people talky thing. But trust me, public speaking skills are crucial. There's a reason why that we're required to take a public speaking class at SCAD. But on top of that, I encourage you to take improv classes or theater classes or anything that requires you to get up on stage and talk to people. It's a legitimate fear. More people are afraid to speak publicly than die. But now that I'm thinking about it, it actually makes sense for SCAD students to want to die before they speak on public. Nonetheless, you gotta break that fear. It's a good skill to have because pitching is unavoidable in the world of animation. You're going to be pitching a lot, especially if you're a storyboard artist or a screenwriter. Like, it's basically your job. And it's an art form in itself, really. If you want me to delve a little further into pitching for storyboards or anything like that, just let me know. I'll gladly do it. That's about all I have on that. Hopefully that was helpful. Maybe subscribe if it was. Yeah, sorry, I don't really like doing the whole like asking people to subscribe things. It makes me feel like I'm begging. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.